Let's go. Yo, I can see some poggers in the chat. Alright, let us dive into our next game. Is spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing not just Team Abydos, but all the lovely waifus out there. He's doing it for you. I can't think of an anime waifu name. I know there was someone in the chat last week. There was someone in the chat. It was Jackie and Lamjoy. They know who this character is. They said her name, but he's doing it for you. It is NightMare. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the up-and-coming South Korean Protoss, the Teal Protoss, representing Into the Clan. It is FarmY. Oh no! I miss him too. We loved Patience. I loved Patience. If you maybe watched the CranKy Ducklings back in 2020 and 2021, both Yaku and I, we were massive Patience fans. I mean, I've always been a Patience fan, as he's like an adjacent Axiom member basically. For those who don't know, Patience, he actually lived in the Axiom team house for a while. He was teammates with True when True joined, I believe it was Dead Pixels, and they did all live together. And yeah, ever since then I've been a massive Patience fan, and he's always been a lot of fun to watch as well. But of course, in the most recent years of StarCraft, Patience did kind of fade away and did silently retire. That's always the saddest thing, when a player just leaves. And there's like no statement, there's no like official announcement. They just stop playing and they just disappear, and it's like, oh, I guess they're gone. And that happened with Patience, that happened with Dream. Dream is another one who just stopped competing, just left. It's like, oh, strange. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. As FarmY is throwing down a proxy. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. He's going to be going for a one base all in. So initially we have a gate expands set up from both players. NightMare is going to be double checking with his probe, and this is already a tell. For there to be a full wall off here at the natural is very suspect. Probe is going to be going down. Proxy gateways thrown down across the map as well. This is going to be, I think it's going to be a one base 4 gate all in, but for the time being we only have 3 gateways. We'll see if another, yep, there we go. Oh no, it's actually going to be 3 gates and a robo. All right. Show me what you got. Oh, as the probe does end up getting hunted down. Meanwhile, NightMare is aware that something is amiss, something is wrong. He's throwing down a robo in his main base, because, of course, with this, it grants him access to Immortals, and defensive Immortals are king in early game PvP. NightMare does shoot this away. He does come across the proxy. Oh, the first Stalker almost goes down. And NightMare is able to bully away the Stalkers of FarmY, able to lay siege upon these pylons. Oh, one Stalker does go down as well. Oh, and FarmY is having a hard time keeping up here with the control of NightMare. This proxy location it's going to get depowered. At least one pylon will go down. Oh, second Stalker. This may be over before it really begins. 2 Stalkers and a pylon. Warp Gate does finish up in time. FarmY is able to reestablish himself here, but oh my god, his Immortal production, everything is just so delayed. We now have already a defensive Immortal up and running here for NightMare. He fully walls off, which means that no Adepts can shade in. There we go. They do attempt to. The Adepts cannot shade into the main. Oh my god, the force field as well! A Stalker goes down. Positioning just a little bit too good. Likewise, we have a counter force field as well, and NightMare is also going to be losing one of his Stalkers. Gateway is under threat, bearing in mind that we have very limited production available here for both players, but also for NightMare. He gets throws down another couple of these force fields, gets an Adept. The wall is no longer a wall. The Adepts can now shade on in, but no, they are denied access into the main. Quick wall off there from NightMare, as FarmY is elevating into said main base. He has a force field up, He does force field the army out of the main. Pylon will be going down. We have enough energy for another force field as well. Interesting that we're not going to be focusing on cutting up the army. We're just keeping NightMare out of his own main, but we have a prism. We can now elevate ourselves in. We have to be very careful here with the control. That pylon is under threat. The robo is going to be depowered, but the army busts into the main base. The Immortals of FarmY almost going down. NightMare did not rebuild that gateway, by the way. He's only got one gate to work with. He doesn't have a lot of production. Well, but he's able to keep his units alive, just barely juggling those Immortals. We have the overcharge as well. These Immortals are having such a hard time going through those Adepts. It looks like FarmY will lose one of his Immortals. He's bleeding out a little bit too much. He's warping in nothing but Adepts. They can tank a lot of Immortal hits, to be fair. But it looks like NightMare's control was just too good. Even though he was lacking in production, even though he was barely warping in units, he had the control, he had the micro. He had the juggling. GG gets called. Whew. NightMare. We'll take game one. that was intense, Pappy. It's very intense. GG, well played. Oh, TT. Hold on, what's being said? I think he's saying that he didn't catch the probe. He's sad about it or something. Sweet. He may be referring to the scouting probe of NightMare. Remember, NightMare was able to scout and confirm the all-in very early on. As he scouted the second gateway as a part of the wall at the natural of FarmY. But last, now we're getting ready for game number 2. Game number 2. Oh boy. And yeah, we're kind of blazing through this tournament, to be honest. We're not even 2 hours in, and we're about to... We could potentially have a finalist here with the end of this game. NightMare is 1 game away from making it to said finals. Yeah, we mentioned it earlier. A lot of the big names are not here today. They are traveling. They are abroad. So a bit of a smaller tournament, a bit of a shorter event itself. But here we go. In the top right-hand corner of Ancient Cistern, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. And all the lovely weebs and waifus out there. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the up-and-coming South Korean Protoss representing Into the Clan. It is FarmY. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. And this time, we're not being baited into a gate expander. Both players are going for double gate openers, as there is no ramp leading up into the natural. So with this, there shouldn't be too many crazy shenanigans going on in the early game. We'll see how it unfolds. We'll see if, we'll see what kind of units these players go into as well. The first 2 units coming out from the Protoss does kind of signify how aggressive they want to be. And NightMare is setting up his second pylon across the map as well. Now I'm a little bit concerned. Why? FarmY doesn't probe scout. He did not probe scout this game, so he doesn't know that there's a pylon missing. He doesn't know that he's under threat right now. NightMare, he confirms the second pylon here behind, or in the mineral line, essentially. He knows that FarmY isn't doing anything weird. Pylon does finish. We'll see if NightMare makes use of it, or if he just expands from here. He's got options, definitely. Does have options, as his first probe is being shooed away, and there is no second probe on the map. So it looks like we're getting to a standard opener overall. And both players are going to be going for double Stalker openers. Okay. NightMare does end up avoiding that probe, by the way, and he does throw down a much faster third pylon in the main, so everything looks normal here in case the probe slips in. And there it is, one base all in. I love this from NightMare again. So he threw down a faster third pylon. It is a little bit inefficient, but just to make sure that everything looks normal in his main base. Probe gets sniped anyway. And oh boy, how the turns do table. This is essentially what FarmY was doing to NightMare in game 1. FarmY went for a proxy robo, proxy gateway as well to reinforce. 3 gates in total. NightMare is doing the same thing, but he is executing it much better. He's keeping it hidden. FarmY is none the wiser. He has no idea what is going on, but he is going for a defensive robo. And a third gateway as well. Interesting. So we have mirrored builds. The difference is that, of course, NightMare has production out on the map. Meanwhile, FarmY has everything back at home. This is not a bad situation for FarmY. I don't know how he was able to read this, or if he's just going for his own all-in, basically, off of one base. And this is going to work quite well for him. He has the defender's advantage. The first immortal is already out for FarmY. And NightMare has to respect it. He backs off at least until he has his own immortal. And now here we go. The jig is up. Insert Spider-Man meme here. As they both point at each other. But NightMare has the higher Stalker count already. He's able to just pounce on top of these units of FarmY. Extending his Stalker lead. Oh, but there's no Prism. And without a Prism, NightMare will lose his first immortal. Ay, ay, ay. No Prism, no micro potential at the same time. Oh, FarmY, he overextends. Oh my god, that was so close. The immortal barely does survive. The Prism barely survives as well. But what's important is that they do live. They have made it. A full health immortal and a low health immortal. They both do the same damage. Bear that in mind. Like, that's just such a valuable unit here for FarmY. He's able to hold on. And now NightMare's just in a worse position. He's down to 2 gates as opposed to the 3 of his opponents. FarmY has a War Prism, so he's able to reinforce across the map. He's committing to his one base all in. And NightMare, he's in a lot of trouble. NightMare is in for a world of hurt. Now bear in mind that this immortal and this Prism are very low, so there's a world where maybe NightMare can somehow snipe them. But again, he has to rely a lot on his opponent messing up. He has to rely on FarmY miscontrolling. But so far the control is on point. Pylon does go down. We do have one Stalker falling for FarmY, but he does keep everything else alive with the power of that Prism. Overcharge is forced to be popped as well. A little bit premature here from NightMare. And the wall is not a wall. FarmY, he's going to be committing here up into the main. He doesn't go for the shade at the same time. Oh, he doesn't get into... Oh my god, the Prism does go down! The Prism was trying to juggle and reinforce, but the Stalkers just zone him away. Meanwhile, the Immortal is going to be going down next, but we lose a lot of Stalkers in the process. Yeah, the boys have to be pulled, and another Immortal comes in to reinforce. It looks like FarmY still has too much. Probes are doing a lot of work here. They're helping out so much to help buffer, but there's only so much they can do. It looks like FarmY has done it. Only 1 Stalker remains. 0 Stalkers remain. And 0 probes as well. GG gets called. And FarmY ties up the series 1-1. And now suddenly, FarmY is 1 game away from making it to the finals for the first time in his career. I think already making it to the semis, I think this is also a first for FarmY. I mean, I can double check. We have the technology. But this is wild. It's crazy. Let us double check here. And I look this up. ESL Asia. Let's search FarmY. Yep. In the history of ESL Open Cup Asia, FarmY has actually never made it to the semifinals. He has never gone this far, let alone the grand finals. I mean, so FarmY could be going for the run of his life. Let's go, Poppy. Let's go. We'll see if he can do it. We'll see if he can pull it off. He's one game away from making that dream a reality. And yeah, we're just getting ready here for our next map, making sure that everyone is prepared as well. Damn good blind counter. It really was. It really was. Like, it was so fortunate that despite FarmY, despite the fact that he didn't scout the lack of pylon, the fact that he didn't scout the proxy, he was going for his own version of that build anyway. I don't think he expected NightMare to cheese him. It just happened to be the case. And it's like, oh, okay, I guess this is happening. And it just worked out better for FarmY in the end. He just, you know, had the advantage, had the defender's advantage, had the faster production as a result. Was able to quickly snowball from there. Ooh. And now we're getting into Game 3, the ace match. It's going to be taking place on Royal Blood. Let's go. Quickly checking to see if there are any other updates going on as we speak, and so far it looks like there have been. Ooh, the PvPs are closing, and we still have our own to finish up here as well in the upper semifinals. Of spawning in the top right hand corner of Royal Blood, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos, the waifus, the weebs, Japan, all things weeaboo. It is NightMare. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. Oh, not picking his teal color, by the way. We have the up-and-coming South Korean Protoss player representing Into the Clan. It is FarmY. The probes are moving out. The one on the left looking a little bit more insidious. The one on the right just going for a regular scout. NightMare, he's waddling across the map looking to slip into the main base of his opponent. FarmY is going to be skirting the edge of the map instead, is going to be hiding in the natural. Are we going for an in-natural proxy pylon? It's been like a month. I think it's been a couple of months since we've seen this, but we have seen a pylon and 2 gateways in the natural before for a proxy, but I think he's just avoiding the scout of his opponent. Never mind. I got excited. I got really excited, man. Oh, actually, I'm getting excited again. So we have seen in natural proxies before in PvT, and typically when it's in PvT, it's for proxy zealots. It's you throw down the gateways and you start zealot production. But we have gases here. We have a cybercore finishing up. Are we going to go for an in-natural proxy robo? Yep. The answer is yes. The proxy robo was on the way in the natural of his opponents. Again, FarmY did a great job at just keeping that probe hidden. Meanwhile, across the map, NightMare does go for a scout. He confirms that a pylon is missing. He knows that something is wrong. Well, something could be wrong, right? It could be a fake pylon for all he knows. And he's looking. He's scouring the edge of the map right now, looking for any proxy pylons. Trying to figure out if his opponent is committed to a proxy or not. Meanwhile, the Stalkers... Oh, he's checking! No! Oh, he checks! He checks his natural. Ay, ay, ay. The probe goes down. The probe goes down. We have 2 pylons, so the first Immortal should finish, right? Like, 1 pylon falls, but the other pylon will survive long enough for the Immortal to pop out. But if this had gone unscattered, this would have done so much damage. Warp gate isn't done, and maybe I spoke too soon. I was like, the Immortal should come out. Nah, it's not gonna come out. Barely doesn't come out. GG gets called, and NightMare will take the series 2-1, becoming this week's first finalist. GG. Well played. Smooch, Papi, smooch. They're talking to each other. He's like, thank you for the game, TT. Being very, very respectable to each other, very respectable. FarmY's like, you caught me, you scattered me. And NightMare was like, that was too much. That was too crazy, Papi. That was too crazy. Oh my god. FarmY he's saying, I was just trying to catch you off guard. I have no regrets. No regrets. GG. Good luck in the next game. Well played, well played. I'll let the admins know the result here. Oh,